Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Voiceless voice deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck is one of my favorite ritual decks to play, as you get to summon out such a nostalgic boss monster, Skull Guardian. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell next to become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 2 copies of Skull Guardian. Skull Guardian is definitely a 2 on the build, but you only need 2 copies of this card because it's so easy to summon out. This card is insane when it's on your side of the field, because if you control a copy of Low or it's in your graveyard, this card becomes a 4100 attack point boss monster that is actually a walking negate. And if this card is ritual summon, you get to add a voiceless voice monster or a ritual monster that's a warrior or dragon from your deck to your hand. And if you control Low, this card is a walking negate, which is crazy powerful. We then play a single copy of Sarvis. Sarvis is really good as a one-of hand trap in this deck, and just a really cool card overall to be able to play in the build. We then play a single copy of Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon. This card is insanely powerful in the deck. It's basically a walking negate for spells, which is such a powerful ability to be able to use. And also, this card is a crazy power effect that once per turn, when your opponent activates a spell or effect, quick effect, you can place this card in your Pendulum Zone, and if you do, negate the effect. Then if you place this ritual summon card in the Pendulum Zone, you can actually special summon an Odd Eyes monster from your X check, which is a great effect to help you bring out your copy of Meteor Burst directly to your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Low. Low is extremely important as a 3-of in the deck, and basically what the entire deck revolves around. This card can be used as the entire requirement to ritual summon a light ritual monster that's a warrior or a dragon, which is an insane effect to be able to basically just instantly summon out your copy of Skull Guardian by just using this card as the tribute. It also has the ability, if this card is normal or special summon, you can actually place a voiceless voice continuous spell or trap from your deck face up in your spell and trap card zone, and if a light ritual monster that's a warrior dragon is special summoned to your field while this card's in your grave, you can special summon this card back to your side of the field. So you basically just use this card as a tribute for your copy of Skull Guardian and just special summon it back to your side of the field, turning on Skull Guardian's walking negate effect, which is absolutely crazy. We then play 3 copies of Saphira. Saphira is crazy powerful as a 3-of build, and I absolutely love this card. This card has the ability to discard this card, send a ritual spell from your deck to the graveyard, then add a light ritual monster that's a warrior or dragon from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and you can also banish this card in the graveyard and basically treat this card as a ritual spell to help you summon out your copy of Skull Guardian, which is so cool to be able to do, and it's a really powerful effect. We then play 3 copies of Diviner. Diviner is really powerful as a 3-of in the build because this card can help you get to the exact cards that you need. With the ability of its normal or special summon, you can send a fairy monster from your deck or X check to the graveyard, which we have a lot of targets for this card's effect to be able to send to the graveyard off its ability. And it also, if it's tributed, you get to special summon a level 2 or lower fairy monster from your hand or deck, which is a crazy powerful effect to instantly bring out your copy of Low to your side of the field because it's a level 1 fairy monster. We then play a single copy of Trias. Trias is really good to be able to pair with your copy of your Diviner, because you can instantly send your copy of Trias to the graveyard off Diviner's effect, and then tribute Diviner to bring out your copy of Low, completely setting up your plays, which is so cool. We then play a single copy of Maximus. Maximus is really good in the deck as a 1-of to be able to use with your Dogmatica engine you're playing in this build, as Dogmatica is absolutely insane in this deck because you really don't need the extract all that much in this build. And this card can help out a lot because you just have to banish a monster from the extract basically that's in the graveyard, just special summon this card from your hand, and during your main phase you can activate this effect to send 2 monsters with different names from your extract to the graveyard, and your opponent has to send 2 monsters from their extract to the graveyard as well, which is a really powerful effect. We get a lot of different effects by sending different cards to the graveyard, like Elder Antinist, which is absolutely amazing to be able to send off your copy of Maximus so you can pop a card on the field. We then play 3 copies of Fenrir. Fenrir is so powerful as a 3-of in the build because you can instantly special summon this card out to your side of the field, search another copy of Fenrir, and it spot removes cards off the field, which is amazing for this card to be able to do. And it's just a really good card to be able to summon alongside your copy of Skull Guardian, but make sure you summon your copy of Fenrir first because you have to control no monsters to special summon this card. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is really important in the deck as a 3-of to basically just use this card to stop your opponent from touching the deck. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity is really good as a 1-up in the build to basically just help us dig in the deck for the exact cards that we need. We'll make a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is insane as a 1-up to basically just stop your opponent's hand traps. We made a single copy of Blessing of the Voiceless Voice. You only need a single copy of this card, but it's really good as a 1-of in the build, as this card has the ability you can target one of your Voiceless Voice cards that's banished or in your graveyard and add it back to your hand, and if a non-ritual monster is normal summon or special summon face up, you can actually ritual summon a light ritual monster that's a warrior dragon from your hand by attributing monsters from your hand or field whose total level equal or exceed the ritual monster you're trying to ritual summon, and it cannot be destroyed by battle, which is a crazy powerful effect to help you ritual summon the exact monster you want. We then play 2 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites. Pre-Prep is really good in the deck to be able to use their copy of Skull Guardian plus their copy of Prayers, so this card is definitely a 2 of the build, but the deck is already so consistent that you only really need 2 copies of this card. We then play 2 copies of Prayers. Prayers is really good in the deck, but you only need 2 copies of this card because you basically just want to use it with your copy of Saphira to help you bring out your copy of Skull Guardian. This card is really powerful in the deck to help you ritual summon using your copy of Saphira, so this card is a key combo piece in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Nadir. Nadir is insane as a 3-of in the build because this card can basically get your copy of Maximus really easily, and also helps you send a monster from your X deck to the graveyard, which is amazing to be able to do, completely setting up your copy of your Dogmatic Maximus, which is absolutely insane. But it does lock you out of the X deck for the rest of the turn after you resolve this card, which is not that big of a deal because we really don't need the X deck all that much. We then play 3 copies of Barrier of the Voiceless Voice. Barrier is insanely powerful and a card you want to set up as quickly as possible in this deck. This card has the ability, while you control your copy of Low and a light ritual monster, opponent's monsters can only target ritual monsters for attacks. Also, your opponent cannot target light monsters you control with card effects, which is insane because it basically means as long as you have your copy of Skull Guardian on your side of the field, your opponent cannot deal with Low, and as long as Low is on your side of the field, your copy of Skull Guardian is a walking negate, which is absolutely crazy. And even if your copy of Low gets sent to the graveyard, your copy of Skull Guardian is still a 4100 attack point boss monster, which is absolutely crazy. This card also has the ability during your main phase, you can actually add a Voiceless Voice card or a Skull Guardian ritual monster from your deck to your hand, which is a crazy ability that you can basically just add the exact card you need every single turn off your copy of Barrier from your deck to your hand, which is such a powerful effect. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Radiance of the Voiceless Voice. This card is just really good as a 1-of in the build to be able to use, as it has the effect that during the main phase, you can activate one of these effects to either shuffle a light ritual monster that's a warrior dragon, or a ritual spell from your hand or graveyard in the deck, and if you do, add to your hand or special summon a Voiceless Voice monster from the deck, or it has the ability to target cards your opponent controls up to the number of light ritual monsters that are warrior dragons you control and destroy both this card and as many other targeted cards as possible, which is a really cool ability. We then also play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is definitely a 3-of the build just to stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. We then also play 3 copies of Dominus Purge. This card is basically 3 more copies of Ash Blossom, which is so insane, and just a really powerful 3-of in the build to be able to use. It does lock you out of using dark, water, or fire monsters effects for the rest of the duel if you activate this card from your hand, but that's not that big of a deal because we can just set it to our side of the field if we're going first, so we can avoid that effect, but it's well worth it because if you just activate your copy of Ash Blossom first and then activate this card second, you can still get the maximum effect out of your cards. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get in to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel is one of the few cards we actually summon to the extra deck, because Trias plus your copy of Low actually equal 10, meaning you can easily summon this card out to your side of the field, and you don't even have to use a tuner to make this, and it spot removes a card off the field when you summon it. And like a single copy of Odd Eyes, a Meteor Burst Dragon, you can summon this card off your copy of Pendulum Graph Dragon's effect, which is really good to be able to do, and this card is absolutely insane to be able to make in this deck. But again, you can summon it off the copy of Pendulum Graph's effect, which is really cool. And like a single copy of Omega. Omega is a card that you can use with your copy of Maximus, so this card is just really good overall in the deck to be able to use your copy of Maximus. If it is in your graveyard, you can actually target one other card in the graveyard and shuffle both that card and this card from the graveyard into the deck, basically just messing up your opponent's plays or being able to recover cards. And like a single copy of Wind Pegasus. Wind Pegasus is great because you can actually banish this card from the graveyard, target a card your opponent controls, and shuffle it back in the deck, which is a great ability to be able to use. Like a single copy of Arclight. Arclight is just insane in any ritual deck that plays Diviner. You can basically just normal summon out Diviner, send this card to the graveyard, and search a ritual monster or ritual spell from your deck to your hand, grabbing the exact card that you need. We can play 2 copies of Elder Empty Nest. Elder Empty Nest is great as a 2 of them to build, basically help you pop cards on the field when it touches the graveyard. Again, works with your Dogmatic baggage in the deck. We can play a single copy of Garua. Garua is great as a 1-up to help you draw a card when it does touch the graveyard. I usually use this card as the Nadir target to be able to send to the graveyard to search Maximus, which is really good to be able to do because it does have 1500 attack points, which is really important to be able to include about with your copy of Nadir, because when you activate Nadir, you have to send a monster that has equal to or higher than attack points of the monster you're trying to search. So I usually use Garua because it matches the attack points of your copy of Maximus. We then make a single copy of Aggregator. Aggregator is just really good overall in the deck to help you use this card as a negate when it does touch the graveyard. Again, basically another Dogmatic punishment or Dogmatic target, which is just really cool to be able to do. 1 copy of Typhon. Typhon's also one of those cards you use summon every so often in the deck, but it's usually after you've already gone into a couple of turns in the game. So this card just comes up every so often, but it is a really cool card to include because Typhon and Chaos Angel are just absolutely crazy in this deck, and probably the only 2 monsters besides the next card that I also summon in the deck. And my single copy of Dynamundo. Dynamundo is a card I do summon in the deck quite often. Basically, just you summon out your copy of SP, Dynamundo, Typhon, and Chaos Angel. The rest of it is just Dogmatic punishment or Dogmatic targets, which is or Nadir targets for Maximus and your Nadir. You want to send to the graveyard so you can get your copy of Maximus. But Dynamundo is really good because it works with ritual monsters, which is insane, and it's just really cool overall in the build. Then play a single copy of SP. SP is really good in the deck to help you just use this card as a spot removal card. Again, this card comes up every so often in the deck. It's just really cool to be able to summon out to your side of the field. But usually, once you summon that Skull Guardian, you've already got enough setup that you really don't need it all that much. We then make a single copy of Anima. Anima is insane in the deck to help you gobble up opponent's monsters, just in case they put them in the wrong column and you have a copy of Low on your side of the field. We make a single copy of Alamirage. Alamirage is great in the deck, just in case you need a copy of a monster in the graveyard to summon out your copy of your Maximus to your side of the field, because you can basically normal summon out Diviner or your copy of Low to your side of the field. And then once you do, you can actually summon out your copy of Alamirage and then link it away for a copy of Secure Gardna, just so that you can have a copy of a monster that was summoned from the extract, like a Fusion, Synchro, Exy, or Link, to be able to summon out your copy of Maximus to your side of the field by banishing Alamirage from the graveyard. You can instantly summon it out to your side of the field. So that's the only reason you play these cards in the deck, just in case you hard draw your copy of Maximus, you can still summon it out to your side of the field by just normal summoning out a low attack point monster, going Alamirage, Secure Gardna, and then banishing Alamirage from the graveyard. So that's it for the deck, guys. I would enjoy this deck. Is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Voiceless voice deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's super fun to be able to play, especially with the Dogmatica cards in it. It's just absolutely insane because Maximus gives you so much value in this deck. It's just really fun to be able to play. So that's gonna do this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell next so you can become part of the notification squad. I'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.